How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Gundam card game video here on Red Zone Rogue. Today we have our very first Gundam card game GD05 deck tech video, and I figured we would kick it off with none other than my favorite deck of the format currently. We have Purple Red Neo Zeon. It is an off-meta deck. You don't see this one all that often, and it just incorporates literally my favorite mobile suits in the entire game right now. We have the Cubile, the Kshatriya, and the brand new SAZABI, also incorporating some of my favorite characters from all of Gundam. I absolutely love this deck. This is a deck that I have been working on quite a bit over the last couple weeks. I think it's in a pretty good spot, but it can still use a little bit of tweaks and adjustments, and we'll talk about that as we go on. So yeah, without further ado, I just want to give a big shout out to our Gundam card game sponsor, Fantastic Realms. They are absolutely fantastic. As you would guess, we have a link in the description down below. And let's go ahead and start talking about my Neo Zeon deck. Let's do it. All right, let's get started. This is, like I said, my favorite deck. I would love for them to make a like a Zeon or Neo Zeon deck box. Maybe they have and I just can't think of it, or maybe it's just one of those super unattainable ones. I don't know. But in any case, let's get started talking about this deck. It's super fun. So we have the actual deck. We have our, all of our choice resources as well, and then we have some alternate cards that we could put in this deck that we'll talk about at the end, because I want to talk about like all of the avenues that you could go with this. These cards are going to make it a little more generically competitive, because there's going to be cards in here that you may have seen in a bunch of other decks, but I wanted to try different stuff, and I wanted to kind of go for a different route. So yeah. Also, I want to mention our beautiful playmats. We have our full Red Zone mecha series on redzonerogue.com. No AI art was used on these. No AI art now. No AI art ever for anything on Red Zone Rogue. I always hire TCG industry artists. This one is done by Pinakis. I've talked about him a lot. He's awesome, and he does a lot of mecha stuff. He's currently doing the art for a Mecha Musume like light novel, and a bunch of other stuff. So this one I think is currently out of stock because y'all really like the Codename Villain one, but we will restock this eventually, as well as our sleeves. But go check it out on redzonerogue.com. All right, so I always like kind of like showing our some of the bling, because hey, I'm showing you my actual deck that I've been playing. So I like showing this kind of stuff. So I'm just using a Unicorn Gundam base. I do have a Kshatriya one coming in the mail from Japan. It's gonna take a little while, but yeah, pretty nice. And then for our resource of choice, hey, she's technically Zeon, so we have Nyan as our resource, as the EX resource. But the real piece de resistance is our full set of Char Aznable resources for this, which is, it makes sense. Char is my favorite character in all of Gundam. Might be your favorite character as well. Is there a way that shows this without the glare? I don't know. We'll just set it like that. Whatever. Good enough. All right. So let's finally get to the deck. So as usual, I want to break this down by what I call pilot piles, because when you're building a Gundam card game deck, you really build the deck around your pilots. They are like the most important part, or at least the linchpin strategy of your deck, and then kind of things can go from there. You can start with like an overall theme or just a strategy, but I find that centering the deck around pilots makes a lot of sense, especially for these kind of videos. So we have our 3 main pilots here, and they are my 3 favorite characters and some of my 3 favorite pilots in the entire game. So we have the brand new Neo Zeon Char Aznable, we have Haman Karn, and then of course we have Marita Cruz. Now let's go ahead and we'll talk about. These are interesting because this deck doesn't have a ton of link potential. In fact, we're only running like 20-something units. It's pretty low for what I typically do. We have a lot of removal. It's a little bit of a weirder deck, but I like this build more than other options that I've tried. So first up, we have Char. So Char is a level 5 1 cost 2/2 pilot, and then when you link him, you can choose any Neo Zeon base in our trash and deploy it, which is good. We have 2 bases, and they're both pretty good, and we'll talk about them when we get to the bases. But generally speaking, yeah, he's kind of like gets some advantage, right? Because we'll get the base back. We'll usually get to draw the card from the base, and we'll get the effect of the base. And he also is +2/+2. So we're running a full set of shards. I actually started with only 3 shards, but I found that I always wanted to link my SAZABI. So this is the only char link. In fact, all the pilots only have one specific link. We have some generic links as well. I always wanted to link the SAZABI when I played it, and if I did not have the link, it was kind of a bummer. So SAZABI is a level 7, 5 cost, 5/5. Links with char, it's Neo Zeon. It has suppression, which is really important. This and the Cubile that we're running both have suppression. So these are our main ways to actually close out the game, because we're going to want to spend most of our early and mid turns like controlling the board, and then we can actually close out the game with our SAZABI and Cubiles, which also double for removal. So they deal damage to our opponent, and they also remove our opponent's board as well. And then on attack, you can choose one of our units and destroy it. If we do, all enemy players choose one of their non-battling units, and they have to destroy them as well. So this is pretty nice. So when we attack, we sack one of our dudes, and our opponent has to sack one of their dudes, which is pretty nice. We're running a full set of the SAZABIs, but it's just a nice suppression unit that also can kill one of their dudes as well, which is pretty nice. We're also running my lady, Haman Karn. She's a level 5, 1 cost, 2/1 pilot. It's such a bummer that she's a 2/1. I feel like they could have made her a 2/2, but in any case, she's Neo Zeon, a new type. All of our pilots are Neo Zeon. When paired, if the unit is red, choose an enemy unit whose level is lower or equal to or lower than this unit, and you deal 1 damage to it. So most of our cards on the deck deal some sort of damage, or they do some sort of removal. Char's a little bit of a different case because he actually gets stuff back for us, but most of the things in our deck do removal, which is really nice. So running 3 copies of Haman Karn. And then for our suit of choice for Haman, we're running 3 copies of the Cubile. So once again, level 7, 5 cost, 5/5, links with Haman Karn. It's Neo Zeon. It also has suppression when it's linked. Only for the turn, but I've noticed that things don't last super long in the Gundam card game. But it is kind of a bummer that it's not like permanent like SAZABI. And then during pair with any Neo Zeon pilot, on attack, we can choose a damaged enemy unit and we deal 2 damage to it. What's great about this is there's no like level or like AP restriction or anything like that. You just choose something that's damaged and you blast it, which is pretty nice. We're running 3 copies of the Cubile. It's another one of our finishers. And between the Cubile and the SAZABI, we have 7 units with suppression. This is the top end of our deck. Our deck tops out at level 7, 5 costs. And so that makes that sweet. And then of course, finally, we have my actual favorite pilot in the game. We have Merida Cruz. My fancy Merida Cruzes, my alternate art ones, those are in my red-blue deck, but maybe we'll pick up some new ones for this one. So anyway, it's a level 4, 1 cost, 2/1 pilot. Once again, Neo Zeon and Cyber New Type. And then during link, on attack, I should also mention that these are both new types. They are relevant for the Kshatriya. And of course, she's a Cyber New Type. And then on link, on attack, choose an enemy unit whose level is equal to or lower than this unit, and then you deal 1 damage. So once again, a lot of ways to deal extra damage. And then of course, our unit of choice for Merida is the LR Kshatriya, my favorite unit in the game. And like I mentioned, these are literally my 3 favorite mobile suits in the game so far. Technically speaking, if you're talking about in a vacuum, I like the new Gundam more, but in the Gundam card game, I really love these cards. So Kshatriya is a level 5, 4 cost, 5/4, links with Merida. It's a Neo Zeon, and then when you pair with any Cyber New Type or New Type pilot, so any of our pilots actually. So if we need to do this in a pinch, we can actually put Char on this if we need to. We can choose 1 to 2 enemy units and you deal 1 damage to them. That's great. They can hit anything. So that's super good. This is our optimal turn 5 play. We Kshatriya with Merida Cruz, and we just jam in and have the damage go flying. And so that is the foundation of our deck. We have our Neo Zeon pilots and their choice mobile suits, and I think they're just all really strong and they work really well together. All right, let's talk about the rest of the deck. So for the rest of the units, we can just kind of batch all the rest of the units together. We have the Shuzram Gallus. So this is a generic Neo Zeon link. So it's a level 4, 2 cost, 4/3 generic Neo Zeon link. We're running 4 of these, and we're running this one over the purple one. There's a purple version of this that is a 3/4 instead of a 4/3. We're running the red version because we want to get the bonus ping from Haman Karn if we link with Haman, because Haman needs the unit to be red. So we're running the red one. So yes, so this is a generic link. It links with all of our pilots, which is really nice. all of our pilots for the most part. I mean, there's Hamon Karn needs it to be red, but Char and Merida needs it to be linked to get their effects, and this one can actually do that, which is nice. So we have the Shuzram Gallus. We're also running 4 copies of the Ques's Jagged Doga. So this one is an interesting card. I tried to build the deck originally kind of around this and more sack effects, but it was just really clunky, and it felt it didn't really work all that well. So instead, I'm just including this as a generic kind of like level 3 2-cost card, and if we can actually get the ability to kind of pop off with the SAZABI, then yeah, that's cool. But if we can't, no biggie. Just jam this out on level 3 and just trade efficiently. So it's a level 3 2-cost 3/2, links with quests. We're not running quests. And then on destroyed, if this unit is destroyed by one of our Neo Zeon card effects, like the SAZABI, then this comes back to our hand. So it's really good with the SAZABI. That's the most optimal thing, is you have the SAZABI, like you already have a Jagged Doga out, you play your SAZABI, you link Char, you get your whatever Neo Zeon base. The ideal one would be Axis in this situation. We'll talk about Axis in a moment. And then we attack with SAZABI, sack the Ques's Jagged Doga, comes back to our hand, and then we can activate the Axis to put this back into play. That's kind of like the most optimal thing, but the deck still functions pretty well when you're not doing that. And like I said, this is just play it out normally. Don't sweat too much about the whole interaction. I feel like that really bogs you down a lot. I tried to force it a lot in some games, and it cost me a lot, cost me a lot of matches. So I just play it normally. And then our final unit is the Gundam Exia Repair. This unit's so good, and it's especially good in this deck. It's very, very weak to opposing red and purple decks because of all the ping, but against any other deck, it's generally pretty solid. And even then, against those decks, it can also be good if they don't draw their ping. So it's a level 2, 1-cost 2/1. And then it says, when this unit deals battle damage to an enemy unit that's level 4 or lower, if it has no pilot, you destroy the enemy unit. So this will just kill anything level 4 or lower that it deals damage to if it doesn't have a pilot. That's insanely good. And then also, when this is destroyed, we place the top 2 cards of our deck in our trash. So we actually get some synergy out of that, because we have 2 cards over here that will actually care about that. Obviously, our bases with Char matter, because we can mill our bases. Mill means put cards from the deck into the trash. We can mill the bases and then get them back with Char, which is actually pretty nice. So yeah, we're running a full 4 of these, and this is another good one that you can sack to the SAZABI. It's just a 1-cost, so you can actually do the whole thing on turn 7. That's a full 7 play points of playing the SAZABI, playing the Exia, playing Char, and then getting the attack in, and you could sack the Exia. And that's going to be it for the units for the deck here. So like I said, we're actually not running a ton of units in the deck. We're just running these. We have some like early and mid-game units to kind of just help trade the board with, and then we just kind of finish the game with our top end. And then everything else, we're running a lot of burn, a lot of removal. So let's talk about that. First up, we have Improved Technique. Level 3, 3-cost. Burst, you activate the main, and then main action, choose an enemy unit that's level 4 or lower, and you deal it 3 damage. And then if you have 2 of these, 2 or more of these in your trash, you can just pick any enemy unit instead. It's really good. 3 damage is great. And it actually synergizes with milling this card or discarding it. So you have additional copies of it in our trash, so we can pick like anything. So milling this with the Exia is like not too bad. So we're running a full 4 of the Improved Technique. Where am I going to put these? I'm just going to set these like over here. Once again, I have the deck list in the description, so if you want to see the deck list, you can check it out. We're also running Close Combat. It's just a level 2, 2-cost. Burst, activate the main action, deal 2 damage. I'm running this one over Darkness Finger. Darkness Finger is really good. It only costs 1 to activate. But the problem with Darkness Finger in this deck is that Darkness Finger is a level 4 card, and I just wanted more early game stuff, because as you can see, we were pretty solid with our mid and late game, but I just wanted more early interaction. We do have the Exia Repair, but I just wanted a little bit more on top of that. So having more level 2s that interact in the early game I think is really good. So that's why we're running Close Combat over Darkness Finger. You can also run Darkness Finger. Darkness Finger is really good. And then that's it. So that's that for the direct damage. Now let's talk about, well, for most of the direct damage, let's talk about our card draw. Obviously, we're running Airframe Seizure. This card's cracked. Level 1, 1 cost, discard a card, draw 2 cards. It's super good. You can discard stuff like Improved Technique if you maybe don't need it, so like early on, and then later you can play another Improved Technique, and if you have 2 or more in your trash, you can target anything. You can discard a base, which is typically what I do, is I'll discard a base, and then I'll get it back with Char later. Or you can discard some of our like little junkers that we don't need anymore in the late game, or you know, whatever. This is just such a really sweet card. I literally put this in every red deck now. I'm glad that I have a bunch of these because yeah, I'm gonna need them. And then finally we have our 2 bases. So we are running both the Ralula and the Axis. Now I think in my deck list on in the link down below, I think I have 3 Axis and 1 Ralula, and I'm kind of like back and forth between the numbers. We'll talk about what they do, and I'll talk about why I really like the Axis in this deck, and it's probably not for the reason that you think. So Ralula is great. It's just a level 3 2 cost 0/5 base, and then it has the whole like burst, deploy shield to hand. But then we choose an enemy unit with 5 or less AP, and you deal damage to it. So this is extra damage, and it actually makes it so Char, I don't know why I call him Char. It actually makes it so Char can deal damage, right? It makes it so we get the base back. We'll draw the card from the shield to hand, and then we'll be able to ping something 5 or less AP for 1, which is really good. So it actually turns Char into a damage dealer for our pilots, which is really good. There are maybe some versions of this deck where you want to go even more bases, like maybe run 6 bases or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm still on the 4 base plan. I don't even know what I would cut for the 6 bases. I really don't want to cut any of our damage or card draw, and I really don't want to cut any of these, and I kind of don't want to cut any pilots. So I'm at an impasse. I'm at an impasse here. And then our other base is the Axis. Level 4 1 cost 0/6 base, and then burst, deploy shield to hand, and we can activate main. Rest this. If one of our units has been destroyed by one of our Neo Zeon card effects during the turn, we can deploy a Neo Zeon that's level 3 or lower from our hand. Basically, we deploy the Questus Jagadoga. That's kind of like the whole thing with this. But that's not why I really like this. Yeah, sure, that's a cool interaction if it happens. I really like this because it has 6 health, and we can get it back with Char. Because one of the most prevalent and powerful decks right now in the format, we'll talk about this in the next video, it's going to be our next Gundam card game deck tech, is the Londo Bell green, Amuro Ray deck. And that has Breach 5, like just a ton of Breach 5. And this has 6, so it actually survives a single Breach 5 hit. So it means like the new Gundam doesn't just destroy this for free. It'll take both of their breaches to kill the Axis, which is really sweet. Obviously not every deck you're going to play against is that deck. But I feel like a lot of them are because it's just so good. So that's one of the reasons why I was having more Axis instead of the Ralula. If I'm playing a lot of Londo Bell, I really feel like the Axis is better. And once again, I think there's another reason why you might want to go up on bases. But once again, I don't really know what I don't know what I would cut. And yeah, this is my Neo Zeon deck. I've been tweaking it and playing around with it. I really like this deck. It's so much fun. It has all of the damage that I love. It has card draw. It has like some sweet recursive abilities. It has like some pretty powerful effects. I feel like the weakest part is kind of these cards up top, but man, the Exia Repair is so sweet. And yeah, I love this deck. Is it the best deck in the game? No, if it was the best deck in the game, then everyone would be playing it. But it's super fun. It's a little bit off meta. It's not what other folks are playing, and I think it's great. Now let's talk about the other options. Now, the other options are going to be what everyone else is playing. If someone else is playing a purple-red deck, they're probably going to be playing with these cards instead of some of these cards. Instead of my beautiful, lovely Haman and Cubile, they're going to be playing with these. The Barbatos and the Mikazuki, right? So these are your other options. If you wanted to be like, oh, I like this deck, how do I make it more competitive? Well, here you go. So I just have this cool Exia EX base that if I wanted to swap these cards, I would add in this. All right. So obviously we would be running Mikazuki instead. Mikazuki is a great pilot that does more ping. So once again, hey, more ping. So it's similar to what we're doing already, right? So you can see some of the things we're doing a little bit similar. So we have Mikazuki. We would add in Mikazuki. And then we would also add in the Gundam Barbatos First Form, one of the best cards in the entire game. Level 3, 2 cost 3/2, and if it is damaged when you attack with it, you get a draw card. And then you damage it by pinging it with Mikazuki. Or you damage it by pinging it with the Barbatos Adapt, which is the other card we would include for sure, which is level 4, 2 cost 2/4. On deploy, you ping one of your units and you ping an enemy unit. Yeah, it links with Mikazuki. And so if you want to make this a more like, you know, standard competitive deck that you might see other people play, then you just add in all the Mikazuki stuff. We'll just add in all of this stuff. I really wanted to try my own thing, and I really wanted to try it with you know, full Neo Zeon with Hamon Karn and the Cubile. And if you're like, okay, I want to be more competitive, I want to add in my Mikazukis and everything, what do I cut? Well, you just cut the Hamon package, right? You cut Hamon Karn, you cut the Cubile, and then maybe some combination of these cards up here, maybe some combination of these, and then you just jam in all these cards here. And then there you go. It's it's a little bit more competitive. You have a little bit more ping damage, and you have a little bit more card draw. I wish we had these type of effects in Neo Zeon, but alas, these effects are in Barbatos and Tekkadan. So yeah, this is how you make it more competitive, but this is the actual deck that I'm currently playing. I have played with this version. It is very good. But I like this one. So thank you all so much for watching. Please let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Like I said, the next deck tech will likely be Londo Bell. I know it's kind of like everyone knows that strategy. I'll show you my take on it. My take's a little bit different, but it's more or less the same. But I really wanted to do the counter pairing to this deck because I really love Char's Counterattack. It's my favorite Gundam thing. Stardust Memory is my favorite series, but my favorite thing in Gundam is Char's Counterattack. I really, really love it. And I think having a Neo Zeon deck and then you have your Londo Bell deck just pairs really well. And also the Londo Bell deck is extremely powerful. So thank you all so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think and what other decks you'd like to see me feature on the channel. I'm kind of brewing some other stuff, but I have about 5 or 6 Gundam decks built right now that are new or updated for this format, and then like, I don't know, so many more, like 16 other ones. But I am going to be doing Phantom Pain at some point. So anyway, thank you so much. Again, I'm rambling, and we'll see you next time.